Ever felt like your company's drowning in a sea of suggestions, but still not solving the right problems? This week on the Honeypot podcast, Alexander and Fredrik dive deep into the art of asking the right questions. They explore how to ditch the old suggestion box and tap into the hidden knowledge within your organization. Discover why targeted feedback loops and pointy questions are key to unlocking faster, more effective solutions. Plus, learn how to leverage AI and internal experts to supercharge your innovation process.
Hello, you're listening to the Honeypot podcast and welcome to another episode and another week with us, Alexander Wennerberg, and my brilliant co-host.
Fredrik Heghammar.
Wonderful.
Thank you for letting me be brilliant in your podcast.
As always.
So last week it was an interesting one when we had a guest talking about technology scouting.
Very.
That was interesting. But what are we talking about today?
I was thinking a little bit about the fact that we're often talking about the power of perspectives and the importance of involving people at the right stages and different stages of working with innovation and change and change management, development in different forms. But one thing that we've been talking about and have been using among more and more of our customers are the situations where the organization or a team might be a little bit afraid of like involving too many people at a very early stage, getting like hundreds of ideas or insights about something and don't really have a plan on how to manage all of those. And what we've found out is a very interesting way of pretty much turning that around and making sure that you can, if you have a few different solutions or a few different ideas of what you want to proceed with or try out, you can use that as the base to ask people for feedback, insights, adjustments, suggestions on those as well. What are your thoughts about that?
No, I agree with you. And just to give some perspective on that is that in a lot of organizations that we are approaching, they can initially see us as a suggestion box. Usually, when I was working in the aircraft industry, we had a suggestion box. There was literally a box on the wall where you put in ideas.
Old style.
And of course, you can do that with our tool as well. No problem at all. But the problem with having a suggestion box is that you are putting a lot of pressure on the contributor, because they are supposed to come up with something from nothing, basically. And for people like me, who are constantly thinking about how to improve things and creative ways of using things, that's perfect. I love the suggestion box. I was a frequently contributor to suggestions in that box, maybe a little bit on too much sometimes. And that's exactly what these people are, the business developers or organization developers are scared of. People like me, people that think about everything all the time, because if you're not used to contributing in a very constructive way, a lot of these contributions are turned into complaints. If you complain about something. I did not complain about things. I sent in blueprints and stuff like that, and that was also why a lot of my suggestions were saw the day of light, sort of, because they were backed up with facts and there were drawings and blueprints and stuff like that. This was when I was working in the aircraft industry, as I said. But so that was just to put it in context. The old suggestion box that some people are afraid of, and people think that we just need to have one because everybody talks about it. So we have mentioned that before in the episodes, in an early episode, the innovation theater thing.
Yeah,
involve your employees, set up a suggestion box. Check.
Exactly. But it's also a pretty like reactive way of working instead of proactive way of working.
Exactly.
Meaning that you just put the box out there and start waiting for suggestions instead of asking for specific solutions.
I don't think it's wrong. I think you should do it, definitely. But if you want to be constructive, and that's also kind of fun lately because we are now working with titles like continuous improvements and stuff like that. So the people that has a job to take care of other people's thoughts and suggestions on improvements. But if you turn it around and you ask about specific improvements, so how can we increase this? How can we decrease this? How can we turn this into something else? How can we do this 20% faster? Stuff like that. That means that it's easier for people to relate to and for people to give constructive feedback on things. So if you ask for, how can we increase pressure in this pressure chamber? People will not talk about, we only have 17 minutes coffee break in the morning. Because it's not related, or hopefully at least. But you know what I mean? So by asking the relevant, pointy question in context, you will also get great constructive answers. Most of the time.
Yeah, definitely. And we have an expression as well that we're saying stop guessing, start asking.
Yeah.
We've even printed stickers with that slogan.
Yes.
to make it very
candy.
Clear, and candy and everything on trade shows. But what we mean by this stop guessing, start asking, there's some like obvious risks that I think that most people can see about like guessing instead of knowing. But I would also say that there's a pretty, given the situation that most companies have not had an easy way, like Hives for example, to do this in like a simple or a fast way as well. But when it comes to these kind of situations, what are you seeing? What kind of risks are you seeing with skipping this step and jumping over, and not like involving people when it comes to the solving of these challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest risk is that you are, putting out our favorite quote again. You're not building the right it.
Yeah.
And you are wasting time on things that are not achievable or wanted or cost effective or not sustainable because you haven't checked it. You also might put hours and hours and hours on things that someone else in the chain of events could do like in a second. That happened a lot, And I think, when it comes, you kind of need to involve people because otherwise you get resistance. I think that is. So time definitely, and time means money, I think it's super important, but then also do it wrongly can also take a lot of time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If you just ask randomly things and keep it toe open, you might end up in a sea of suggestions that you don't know what to do with, and it takes you too long to go through everything. If you don't use Hives, for example, that can help you with that a little bit better, since we can analyze with AI now and stuff like that. But so it's a trade-off. But I think not involving the right people in the process is super important. That said, and we said it before many times, that doesn't mean that you should involve everyone all the time and any time. It should be that you should be able to do it when you need it, sort of. And it's a perfect way of getting people in the right direction, sort of. And one of my favorite books is called The Sapiens. I'm just about to read his latest book now, but I think it's called, I don't remember what it's called, but it's about AI and the information technology. No, but Sapiens is all about, why are we humans like we are, and why are we the superior art? And we are the superior art because we can collaborate and a lot of other things, but that's what's the thing in the book. And to be able to collaborate, we need to show a vision, a goal. We need to give them understanding of why we are going in a certain direction and why. And that's why, we have religion and kings and queens and laws and precedents and stuff there to guide us, to guide the big masses of people working together towards a goal. And it's the same in companies. If you're not getting through the organization and anchor it and show what you're doing, people will easier to say no than yes along the way.
Yeah, and talking about that, I think that's a very, very interesting topic, because we are often talking about the reason why you should involve people are the fact that you're getting better data, you can make better decisions, and so on and so on. But one thing that you touched upon there is one thing that I've been talking to a lot of companies about as well, is that the fact that you're even doing those kind of initiatives also creates the side effect of like increasing the buy-in and engagement along the way.
Absolutely.
Everyone who's been working with like change management or big like development initiatives and so on knows that if you just like brute force things, sooner or later you will have to manage the like some kind of hard resistance part in the end. And if you solve that earlier in the process by getting it to some kind of communication, transparency, and some way of participating with buy-in and engagement and sharing your ideas and suggestions and feedback, you'll probably wipe that risk or most of that risk out completely along the way if you do that early as well.
Yeah, I got a bit of a pod brain right now, because I'm thinking about the process that I used to talk about all the time to give people,
I do art.
No,
Nope.
that's a good format for to put people in context and put them up to speed before meetings. But it's more like that you have to give them a vision, a goal, why they're doing it. You have to.
The Noster T.
Noster T. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. No, but it's very much connected to what we're talking about. And how we can work together and to avoid certain stops along the way, sort of. And by gathering relevant data. Data is such a boring word. What information, but data sounds more important than information. But
it's a good describing word to cover all of like insights, feedback.
I know,
ideas,
but it sounds so clinical.
Very boring word.
Somehow.
Definitely.
Yeah, no. But collect data in the right way, at the right moment that will give you, the upside of being on track and to involve other people and show them where you are in the process and why you're doing stuff. It's such a benefit, I would say, And once again, we talked about it before as well, but you can make 90% quicker decisions on something visual. So the data you're collecting needs to be, graspable and quick to analyze, sort of. So start with the end.
Yeah, definitely. One common question I am getting when I'm talking to companies, both teams and organizations that have been working with this for a while, but maybe mostly from organizations that want to start working more in this way, is who should we ask?
And sometimes you don't know, but sometimes you know. No, but I think, if you are working with internal, organizational improvements, and let's say you have 6 different departments, let's start to get at least one from each department to be present or to be asked about something. Just to keep them informed, to keep them up to track, to get their point of view. Of course, that's important as well. People's time are precious, so that's why I think instead of openly asking about open-end questions, I think you should use our favorite data gathering method is scoring, for example, to different questions or different statements I think that's great. It's quick, it's fast, and it gives both the contributor an overview and insights, and definitely the person who receiving it will get really qualitative data to work with. And that kind of data is very easy to put in a visual context to make it really understandable and at a glance, then you can move fast, sort of. But that's what I would do to start with. And of course, if I want to increase efficiency, for a different department or a different machine or a different process, I need to ask the people involved with that as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be really cool to involve, other perspectives as well, just to spice it up a bit. But you don't have to ask everybody all the time.
No, definitely, and it's also something that I don't say that this is always the overall truth, but generally I would be able to say that earlier in the process, the less you need to narrow it down to the experts, meaning that if you post a challenge or ask a challenge or opportunity to a group of people, the most value you'll get out of it is usually when you have as mixed group of people as possible.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to do it at once, but if you have a process, it's not a linear process. That's for sure. So if you ask everyone, and a normal person comes up with an idea, you run that by the experts, and they can give you what you can do and not do because they are experts in that field. But that doesn't mean they have they will know everything, because then you ask the users and the people using this every day or the customers, and then you kind of go back and forth all the time. So it's a roller coaster in that sense, but it's a roller coaster that you know the ride every time. So it's not a roller coaster in a bad way. It's a roller coaster in a good way, if you know what I mean.
And that kind of those kind of iterative feedback loops, or whatever we want to call them, it's a pretty big advantage to find a way to work with them from time to time, meaning that in all sense, I would definitely say workshops are a great format if you have very skilled facilitators and have the time and can coordinate workshops and create a structure for it. But it's also a situation where I would say that when you're doing a workshop, maybe there's something that you want to iterate on a week later. So that's also something I want to emphasize on, that you also want to find a structure that lets you go back to the people and do these kind of bursts without having to plan a completely new workshop every time you need that kind of input as well.
Yeah, I remember a company in Sweden. I don't know if they're around anymore, but they were innovation consultancies, and it was run by an innovation professor called Kai Mikos, a really nice person, really competent in this field, and he offered 72-hour innovation race, as they called it. And basically what that was a diverse group of people from the company that helped out, and then back offices all around the world working 24/7 or for 3 days, covering everything from IP to trademarks and everything, And basically that's something you can set up and do every day in our tool. If you have the competences, of course, but you can also do it with partners. So in this case, they had partners that were dedicated these 72 hours, and it cost a fortune, of course. But you also got results in 72 hours. And that, compared to a normal process of innovation within a company, could take 3 years. I know they did it for a big cruising or a shipping company, and they earned so much money on the things that they come up with, and they saved so much money with the time, only spending 72 hours to cover everything. But imagine if you had these kind of back office functions, these panels, these experts on tap whenever you needed them all the time. That's what I'm talking about, It's because you need to do it. Either you sit in your alone in your chamber and you work your butt off for a year, and then you go test it, and then no one wants it, or you keep on testing and evolving and different perspectives and all the departments that are involved and so on, and you can change the wings while you are flying, and
there's so
much better
ways and there's so many effective ways to do that today. Like Highstock, our tool is one way, and as you say, when we're talking about these so many experts around the world in that case, when they were doing that initiative as an innovation back office, the thing is that what I find interesting there is that a lot of the companies and organizations around the world have a lot of those knowledges and insights and experts internally.
Definitely.
Like if you have 100 employees or 1,000 or 5,000 employees, I don't know, you can easily, if you're working on a solution or working on a specific opportunity, imagine if you could just send out a burst of could you just give your 30-second or 1 minute feedback on this, or would you just be able to in 20 seconds score this opportunity or this solution with how urgent is it from 1 to 10? What would you say is the business value from 1 to 10? How important it is for, or whatever, how you choose to score it. You will get so valuable data in order to proceed and adjust before you spend so much time and money on things that won't work.
Yeah, but so let's turn that into a story sort of. Let's say that we're running a textile fabric manufacturing facility. And we need to come up with a specific fabric for newborn kids. It needs to be really pure and sustainable, and no chemicals that can harm the kid, sort of. And we're doing jeans today, so it's a big change for us. And you are asking the people within, and they say, we have this fabric and this fabric, and then someone say, but if we change the way we wash the fabric in this washing machine, and someone at the washing facility says that, and then they do. We need to go out in the market to see what's out there, and they do this technology scouting with Findest, for example, and in a couple of days or weeks, maybe, hopefully days, they will get back. This is what's available in the market. Okay, they take that and then they go back to the people internally and say, can we make this? No, that doesn't work, but do you have anything else? Oh yeah, we have 5 options here. Okay, that will work if we change this, and so on. So, that's how you have to work, back and forth. But the most important thing is that the back and forth cannot take years. It needs to be hours or days at least. Because otherwise it will cost too much, and it's never. You can't defend the money spent on it. It's
But I think that's also why it's been avoided historically. From the latest years behind us and going forward, there are things doing this in such efficient way. It's been so inefficient before that where you have to call people to a meeting or
99% of the companies out there are still working that way. They rather not do it than do it and maybe lose money. But then you have companies like Google and Tesla and SpaceX and stuff like that. They're in their DNA is to move fast and also do a lot of failures that sometimes cost a lot. Of course, and it's easy to say that you should work this way, but because these companies makes a shitload of money, and most companies doesn't have the availability of funding like Google, for example. but also that's what turns Google into becoming this innovative companies, because they take a lot of risks. And by watching them, I mean, I work there, so I've been experiencing it firsthand, but then being on the outside and watching them and learn from that process is great, because in the beginning, Google, they could do this because they had so much resources. It was not that they were smarter or faster or anything, but they could have like 10 companies working on the same thing, and then they could pick one. But no other companies can afford to work that way. You know, that's just a fact. So it was not like, oh, they're so much smarter. No, they have funds to be smart.
Have the resources.
Exactly. But nowadays, we learn from that and know that we need to work with multiple options to find the real one, quantity to find quality. And that's just a fact. And now, because we have watch companies like Google spend fortunes of working this way, and we can learn from that. And now it's and anyone can do it, basically, in their own way.
Great. We're closing up to the end of this episode. Should we share any hopefully actionable takeaways that we could share with the wonderful people listening here?
Yeah, I think, you know, my what I want to share as a takeaway would be, don't work with open-ended questionings.
Yeah.
If you want to start doing this and do it productively and get qualitative answers, ask pointy questions in context, not open to anything, and also ask the question in a way so you don't get complaints, but rather concrete ideas. That would be the biggest takeaway I want to give people from this. And then also create a structure, because, as I said, working with new solutions, whether it's innovation or just new solutions, you know, or development, you have to kind of design your roller coaster ride, and then you can take that ride over and over and over again. It should not be the old way that you're describing a rocky road or you know, an unknown path to hell, basically. No, this should be a fun ride, you know. That's why it's called amusement park, right?
Exactly. And I'm also thinking that there are so many organizations out there spending so much time and money on, you know, market research, understanding the market, like forth and back. But I just want to encourage everyone to use the experts you already have inside of your organization as well, because you have so many people that are firsthand talking to all of the customers, working with all of their services and products in the organization. They have so much knowledge and insights to share with you on information that would be very valuable for you to make decision based on. So really encourage you to just try it out. Like send people away to share their feedback or insights on something that you're working on and see how you can adjust it. And
definitely. And also to the companies out there who think that they can do this with AI only, because you can ask AI how to increase productivity or time efficiency or whatever. Do that. Ask AI about it, but then you ask a couple of people in your organization as well to verify what AI found for you, and turn it into your data, sort of. I think that's a great way of doing it as well, you know. But don't only rely on the AI answer for now, at least.
That's a great takeaway. It needs to be in context for your organization, definitely.
Cool.
Great. With that said, hope to see and hear from you, all of you, next week. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions or thoughts. Maybe you have an idea of what you want to be hearing in these episodes ahead, or if you have a question or a challenge that you're working on that you want to have our thoughts and discussions on as well, feel free to reach out. But have a wonderful rest of the week then.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Honeypot podcast, brought to you by Hives.co. We hope you found today's insights valuable and inspiring. If you have any questions, thoughts, or ideas, we'd love to hear from you. You can easily reach us by searching for Alexander Wennerberg or Fredrik Hagemer on LinkedIn. Or feel free to drop us an email at alexander@hives.co or fredrik@hives.co. And hey, if you want to learn more about how Hives.co can help you capture insights, ideas, and feedback from your team or customers to make smarter business decisions, head over to Hives.co. It's the easiest yet most powerful tool out there for driving innovation and continuous improvement. Until next time, keep innovating, and thanks for being a part of the Honeypot community.